My name is Emma Turner. I'm in my late 30s now, and for most of my adult life, I've been described with the same small handful of words: steady, reasonable, low maintenance. The kind of woman people trust with responsibilities, but rarely with the truth. The kind who keeps things running quietly in the background while louder personalities take up the space in the room. I work in operations, systems, schedules, details that only become visible when they fail. At home, I played a similar role: reliable, calm, the emotional ballast. People often assume that means I'm passive or that I don't notice much, that if I'm not reacting, I must not be thinking. They're wrong about that. This story isn't dramatic in the way movies teach us to expect. There are no screaming matches, no slammed doors, no sudden villain reveal. It's quieter than that, slower. And because of that, it took me a long time to see it clearly myself. I discovered the truth about our marriage, and it wasn't an accident. That sentence still feels strange to say out loud, because for years I believed what I was experiencing were misunderstandings. Personality differences, bad timing, stress, normal wear and tear. But eventually, a different sentence formed in my mind, one I could no longer ignore. What I thought were mistakes turned out to be deliberate choices. This is not a revenge story. I'm not here to embarrass anyone or to relitigate old arguments. I'm not even here to paint myself as a hero. I'm telling this because there's a particular kind of emotional injustice that thrives on silence and good intentions, and because many people living inside it don't realize that's where they are. Over the next hour, I'm going to walk you through how I slowly recognized the patterns in my marriage, how I understood the role I had been assigned without my consent, how silence, once a habit, became a decision, and how clarity, real clarity, arrived not with rage, but with stillness. You won't hear me exaggerate. I won't raise my voice. There are no villains here, just choices and consequences unfolding at different speeds. Some of them are mine. If you're listening to this because you feel underestimated, because something in your life feels subtly off but hard to explain, or because you've ever wondered whether calm can be a form of strength, then you might recognize parts of yourself along the way. Before we begin the story itself, I want to introduce you properly to who I was at the start, on paper and beneath the surface. And as you listen, I'll leave you with one gentle question to hold in the back of your mind. Have you ever been so busy being reasonable that you delayed being honest with yourself? For a long time, I thought being easy to live with was a virtue. I was the woman people described as low drama, and they meant it as a compliment. Friends would say it admiringly, my husband would say it with relief, and even my in-laws would smile when they said, "Emma never makes things complicated." I wore that label carefully, like something fragile that could break if I questioned it too hard. To them, I was the stabilizer. In social settings, I was the one who remembered birthdays, smoothed over awkward moments, and noticed when someone felt left out. At work, I was dependable to the point of invisibility. If something went wrong, I fixed it quietly. If something went right, it was assumed it would have anyway. I didn't push myself forward. I didn't interrupt. I didn't demand credit. I thought competence spoke for itself. In my marriage, this translated into a very specific role. I was the one who adapted. If plans changed, I adjusted. If moods shifted, I compensated. If something felt off, I told myself it wasn't worth turning into a conversation. I believed that love meant flexibility and that being understanding was the same thing as being respected. Looking back now, I can see how neatly that belief served everyone but me. When people looked at us from the outside, they saw a balanced couple. My husband was charismatic, decisive, and socially confident. I was calm, thoughtful, and supportive. The contrast made sense to them. It made sense to me too, at least at first. What I didn't realize was how often calm became a synonym for doesn't object. I became the person whose preferences were optional, not ignored outright, just gently bypassed. Restaurants were chosen without asking me because you're fine with anything. Decisions were made quickly because you trust my judgment. Small dismissals layered